Good evening, YouTube. Hope you guys had a good work week. Just a 5-day work week for me. Some of you guys might be wondering, what's going on? It's not Saturday, it's Friday, Blade. Well, I've actually got some stuff lined up for tomorrow, so I figure we might as well just go ahead and do the stream tonight. This is also going to be the schedule for next week too, because I'm taking a trip to Florida and won't be around for that Saturday. But I gotta tell you, I'm really excited for this stream because today we are playing what is something I always point to as my favorite video game of all time, and that's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This game was released in 1992 and was the sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog, released in 1991. So the original Sonic the Hedgehog, it was intended to be a killer app for the Sega Genesis, but it exceeded Sega's every expectation that they had for it. So obviously they wanted to make a sequel for it, and someone at Sega actually had a plan for that. Kalinsky, I think his name was. He had a plan for the marketing side of things in regards to the Sega Genesis, and that involved 3 points. The first point was he wanted to lower the price of the Genesis and package it with Sonic the Hedgehog to sell the console at a loss and put their best game into players' hands to encourage software sales, which is where they would make most of their money. He also wanted to go after Nintendo for their, practices. Genesis does what Nintendo don't. But most importantly, he wanted to move development from Japan to the United States in an effort to encourage production of games that are intended for a Western audience. So because of that, half the team behind the original Sonic, who were already at work on Sonic 2, picked up and moved to the United States to work at Sega of America. And that's where they began production on Sonic 2, whereas the team that left in Japan began work on what would become Sonic CD. This might seem like a good idea because there always was a disconnect between North America and Sega of Japan. But from what I've read, it was actually a very troubled development cycle. Because not only did you have cultural differences, but you also had differences in design philosophy when it came to Japanese and American game developers. And let's also not forget that there was likely a language barrier initially, which probably didn't help things either. But they were able to work things out, and they were able to get Sonic 2 out only a year after the release of the first game. And it would become an instant smash hit, and is still regarded by many as one of the best games in the entire series. It's my personal favorite. I acknowledge that there are better games than this one, better games than the Sonic series, but this is just the one that I personally enjoy the most. I think it was the first Sonic game I actually played as well, and it's one I play like maybe 4 times a year. I'm just always in the mood to play this game, and let's just go ahead and play it because I'm just really excited to play this one. Okay, like with Sonic 1, I'm going to be playing this off of the Sonic Origins collection, which does have a few bugs. I'm sure some of you guys are aware of the glitch that occurs with Tails. We might see that at some point tonight. But just for the ease of recording footage, this is the version I decided to go with. Get the sound all situated here. And again, all rights belong to Sega. I'm just playing the game. I had no hand in its creation. Later this month, they're coming out with Sonic Origins Plus, which is supposed to fix some of the issues this game had. Hope they don't screw that up. It'll certainly make covering the Master System games a lot easier. Gotta do a quick sound check, folks, before we get started. Here we go. I know how to play the game, Origins. Why do you think I bought the darn thing? Now that's a great title screen right there. It's basically the same layout as the original game, but they've just tweaked it a little bit. The music is a bit more lively, the animations are a bit more lively. It's just a more lively title screen. Really wish it wouldn't go away so fast so I could actually talk about it. So this is one cool thing that Origins adds. It actually gives you the option to play as a bunch of different characters. So you can play as Tails and Knuckles in addition to Sonic, and you also got Sonic and Tails, and Knuckles and Tails. Not Sonic and Knuckles, or Tails and Sonic, or Tails and Knuckles, though. There's really no point to including that, though, because Sonic 2 wasn't really designed with Tails and Knuckles in mind, so it's not like there's any areas that you can get into that you otherwise wouldn't. But it is a neat addition to have. But this was designed to be played with Sonic and Tails, so that's what I'm going to do here. Alright, getting right into the swing of things. So, the plot of Sonic 2. So, Eggman is back, and this time he means business. I think that's what the manual says, actually. He's returned with a great big space station called the Death Egg, which has the power to roboticize all the planet Mobius. So now Sonic has to go stop him again, and along for the ride this time is his new friend Tails, who Sonic met during one of his vacations. Like most Sonic games, or games at the time, I guess, the story here is really just context, which was just a style at the time. In regards to the presentation, I think it speaks for itself. The colors are brighter, there's more frames of animation, the detail is much better. It's just overall a better looking game than the first Sonic game, and that's saying quite a lot because the first Sonic game actually looked really good. And in regards to story, the biggest thing this game introduced is, of course, Tails. Well, that's actually not true. He first appeared in the Game Gear game, but this was the first time he was actually along for the ride. And people tend to have mixed opinions on Tails. Some people describe him as a beating, which I kind of understand, just kind of that annoying kid sidekick. But I've always really liked Tails. Aside from the fact that his design is just great, he contrasts beautifully with Sonic, and all the stuff he can do with his two tails is fantastic. The dynamic he and Sonic share is just really charming. It's like a little kid coming to a skate park and learn the tools of a trade from an older skater. And as the years have gone by, Sonic and Tails' relationship has progressed a great deal. How should I put this? Mostly in just the level of respect that they have for each other. Like, Tails honestly looks up to Sonic, but Sonic doesn't look down on Tails. He doesn't look at him as a sidekick or anything like that. He respects Tails as an equal in a lot of ways. Mostly, and you can sort of see that here. It's always been said that Sonic didn't ask Tails to go on this adventure with him, he just kind of followed him. Oh, here's Eggman. Coming at me with a Doom Buggy and a drill. That is really slow. You know, the Death Egg is a major feature of the engineering, but come on, Eggman. Is this the best you can come up with? You know, just to make him feel good, I'm gonna let him hit me just once. You suck, Eggman. But yeah, how the relationship between Sonic and Tails works is Sonic doesn't expect Tails' help, but he does welcome it. Now for my favorite level in the game, Chemical Plants. And I feel this level is really significant for Sonic the Hedgehog because this is really where they really honed in on what makes a Sonic level good. You remember when I was playing Sonic 1, I talked about how, despite Sonic being billed for his speed, the original Sonic the Hedgehog didn't really do a whole lot with Sonic's ability to move fast. It was very much just a straightforward platformer. And that's something that Sonic 2 aims to address a little bit and come up with a lot of creative ways to utilize Sonic's speed in the level design. And you really start to see that here with Chemical Plants, because there's a lot of sections like this where you're just thrown into warp speed. But you're thrown to warp speed, you do a long string of corkscrews, loops, and all that stuff. And then you hit a ramp like that. Sometimes it brings you to a stop, other times you hit a jump, and you have a chance to get to a different part of the level. And the complexity of the levels here has been increased a great deal, usually in the fact that there is typically a high and low path through the levels, with the high path being a lot harder to stay on versus the low path. So if you can stay on the high path, you'll get through the level faster, but that's trickier to do. But you're also not punished for taking the low path either. It's an interesting approach to the level design. I also just really love the theming of this level. The color scheme is great, the background is gorgeous. See, like right there, what I'm talking about, now I'm on the high path. So something else this game introduced is Sonic's trademark Spin Dash, which you hold down on D-pad and push the jump button, and Sonic revs up and gets a burst of speed, which has become a staple move of his moving forward. Allows you to get a nice burst of speed when you need to get up a slope like that. And of course, the music here is fantastic. I love the soundtrack in Sonic 2, it's so good. I think the first time I played this was with a friend of mine in Indiana, Justin Borowitz by name. We used to play this all the time when I would go visit his house. Then I got a Mega Collection on the GameCube, which is really where the bulk of my time with this was spent. Lots of memories with this game. So here's another element in Sonic games that I really like, and this is what I call a climax, where you're towards the end of the level and they try to get you again with one final obstacle, in this case the infamous chemical pit. So the water rises, so obviously you can't stay down there for very long and you gotta platform your way out. I remember as a kid that part seemed impossible to me, but as you can see right there, now I can breeze through it like it's nothing. Yeah, I gotta be careful with those things. Nice to see that Tails hasn't crapped out on me yet. Ah, crap. Lost control there for a second, that's embarrassing. I think that means I gotta do the chemical pit again. Ah, axe. Alright, let's see what Impractical Machine Eggman's gonna come at us with this time. And it is a canister that fills with toxins, and then he drops it on us. Okay, I don't get it, Eggman. What did you think was gonna happen here? Okay, who thinks that's worse? Is that worse than the first one, or is that better? I can't decide. I always like to creep Sonic to the edge here and look at his animations. Get really close, and he goes like that. They really had fun with the animations here. Oh man, Aquatic Ruin. Now there's a name that's likely to strike fear into the hearts of anyone who played the first game. You'll recall that I deemed the worst level in Sonic 1 to be Labyrinth Zone. Like, water in Sonic games just don't mix. Sonic can't swim, it slows him down, and obviously he can't stay in the water for very long. So you would probably think that Aquatic Ruin would be really bad, but it's actually not. This is actually a pretty good level. And it shows a good design philosophy to have when you're doing a water level in a Sonic game. When we were playing through Chemical Plant, I talked about the high and low path through levels. And Aquatic Ruin takes that a step further. Essentially how this works is you have a high and low path through the level, and if you can stick to the high path, you can actually avoid the water a good deal. Like right here, I just fell down to the lower path. So now I have to attempt to deal with the water. But that's much, much, much better than how it was in Sonic 1, where you essentially had no choice but to deal with the water in Labyrinth Zone. I also think that water and the ruins just go together really nice. Probably why you had so many ruin-themed levels in later games that have to do with water, like Lost World and Aquatic Mine and the Sonic Adventure games. I also like the motion sensors with Eggman's face on it, that's funny. Yeah, as you can see, Tails doesn't always do a very good job of keeping up with you. It's led to the joke that Tails is actually invincible in the Sonic community. He's not, that's just one of those funny video game quirks, but it is funny how often Tails just gets abused in this game, just because he can't keep up. It really is a shame that happens, because Tails is a cute little dude. You don't want to see anything bad happen to him. Remember an old friend of mine, when I was introducing them to the Sonic series, when we were getting to know each other, they had only really known the Genesis games, and they would always point out how adorable Tails was. I remember them having a weird fondness for foxes. I think these days they probably complain about the fact that Tails is orange instead of red, or whatever color foxes are. But that was made for artistic reasons. The orange it's a complementary color to blue. So putting those two colors together along with Tails' general cute and cuddly demeanor, it just makes sense. Alright, I want to show you guys the special stages. Now this is pretty spectacular. Now obviously this looks a bit smoother since we are talking about the Origins collection, but on the Genesis, this was really impressive because the Genesis couldn't really do Mode 7. It could do something similar, but not to the same effect. But doing this, giving yourself a nice 3D space, it's pretty cool. And this half-pipe idea for the special stages would become very popular for Sonic games. Just about every major game that has special stages has something similar. And that's both a good and bad thing, because I do like this, but if you've played this game, you know that these stages can get really hard. Mostly because in the Genesis game, you can only see so far ahead, so you don't have enough time to react to the rings and especially the hazards. And Tails, he's usually just a little bit behind you, so if your input is off, he's going to take a hit too, and you're going to lose rings as a result of that, and sometimes 1 or 2 rings is the difference between failure and a Chaos Emerald. Interesting thing about Tails in this game, though, if you have another player, they can plug in a second control and they can control Tails. I remember when I was a kid, me and my little brother would play the game like this all the time. Yeah, we would exploit the hell out of that to get past some bosses. And what does Eggman got this time? So, hitting these things with a hammer, shooting arrows, and then I guess I have to climb up to get at him. You know, you got Sonic trapped there. Why didn't you just fire all the arrows at once or drop a bomb down there or something? Or you could just exploit the programming, get on top of this totem right here, and then take him out that way. Yeah, not a very well-designed boss here, I would say. And again, Eggman, what is your plan here? Do you really expect to take out a blue supersonic hedgehog like this? What is the thinking? What is the thinking? Yep, another one bites the dust. Casino Night. That's another significant level. You'll remember in Sonic 1 and Spring Yard they had some pinball elements, but they were somewhat underutilized. There wasn't really a whole lot to it. So Casino Night here takes the pinball a step further by adding lots of stuff you can bounce off of, some of it being very frustrating like this right here. And combines it with a fun casino theme. And it just works really well with the slot machines and everything. Like, if you've ever played a really good pinball stage, there's usually something you can get the ball into and something really cool will happen. A common thing is a slot machine of some kind, so combining the two together does make a lot of sense. And it does make for a really pretty level. I mean, look at that background, dude. That's great. Music is very jazzy too, which is fitting. It's definitely a popular level, and it would serve as the basis for the spin-off Sonic Spinball. But I've never been terribly fond of Casino Night in particular. I love the theming, I love the concept, but in practice, I think it just kind of goes against what Sonic 2 is trying to do. The flow just isn't quite there. It's really easy to get hung up on the pinball tables for a while. At the same time, though, this is a good place to, you know, get stocked up on lives, since it's really easy to get rings here. But I'm playing on the Origins collection, which thankfully removes lives. You'll see why I decide to do that here soon. But I just don't think it flows very well, that's all there is to it. Still a very good level theme, and later casino levels would do some pretty cool things with it. I think the best example would be Bingo Highway and Sonic Heroes. So yeah, the Origins version of this has it's actually full 3D. Like there's actually a polygonal model here that you're running on, versus the Genesis game where it's just 2D sprites drawn to give the illusion of 3D. Probably just done to be easier on the eyes and also to increase the draw distance. Actually doing a lot better than I thought I would. So, is there any significance to getting the 7 Chaos Emeralds here? Yes. If you manage to get to the end of the game with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, there'll be a difference during one of the boss fights where Eamon will actually steal them from you, which is how he gets them to power the Death Egg. Did I get enough rings? Oh, cool. And once you have all 7 emeralds and you get 50 rings, you can then transform into Supersonic, who basically has a invincibility power-up and a super speed power-up by default. So it basically just turns you into a Vortex of Death, which is fantastic. I've never been able to accomplish it myself. Though this is my favorite Sonic game, I have to admit I haven't mastered it. The Origins collection was actually the first time I ever completed it in its entirety. I usually die when I get to Sky Fortress or whatever the last level of this is called. There's one thing that I forgot to mention. I've decided to tweak the formats of my videos a little bit. I've been told by some people that 2 hours might be a little much, so what I've decided to do is shorten them to 1.5 hours. And if I'm playing and I'm just having fun, I may just go ahead and go for the full 2 hours, but that's going to be the rule. I have to play at least 1.5 hours, but no more than 2 hours. I also really need to experiment with my editing software to see if I can do highlight reels for the standard YouTube videos. I also need to do some graphic design, actually make some proper banners for my videos as well. I tried doing that initially, but I realized I lacked some crucial components to do that. You ever try doing graphic design without a scanner? It's actually a lot harder than you would think. It's true what my old art teacher used to say: going straight to the computer is just a recipe for disaster. But it's also really hard to go to the computer from your drawings too. Unless you can find some overlap, which is what the scanner is usually for. Need to go ahead and buy one. I've got the money, I can afford it. And how do I have that money? It's because I worked hard. Usually talk about how I'm worn out at the end of the week with all the hours I have to work, but I really cannot complain. I do have a good job with good pay and good hours. Good benefits too. See, this is kind of what I mean by you can get hung up in this crap. I don't even remember this section. How'd I end up here? There we go. You find something new every day. Spin Dash really was a great addition. Like I said, they probably came up with that due to, you know, having trouble building up speed on a Starlight Zone. And right here, you have a great big pinball section, but you actually gotta let yourself drop down in order to continue. Sort of counterintuitive. You think you'd have to go higher. Alright, let's see if I can get this third Chaos Emerald. But yeah, you see how Tails is just a step behind Sonic? Come on now. Didn't make it. Oh, I did. Hacks. Do people still say hacks? I don't care. Frick. Sometimes I wish I could cuss on screen. Screw you! In the Origins collection, you can spend coins to try the special stages again, but I need to move on. I don't really care about going supersonic anyway. Alright, what you got, Eggman? Well, I'll give you credit for staying out of my reach, but... Again, why don't you just drop the bigger bomb down here? Not a lot to this boss fight, you just kind of have to either use the half pipes to get up here and hit him like that, or bounce like that. You just don't want to end up underneath him. Otherwise, he's gonna come down and get you with the electricity. I feel like Eggman just wanted to show off his neon. Get a quick sound check. Feel like Eggman just wanted to show off his neon. Hilltop Zone. I always felt like this was a underrated level in the game. Outside of the fact that it's just got a really chill vibe to it. I think the theme in here is just really nice too. Going from lively nightlife and casino nights to just, you know, the mountains. Love the background too. I can see everything rising above the clouds there. It's really cool. It's also where they work in the lava that appears in the vast majority of games, it seems. So you're not just making your way through across a mountain, you're also making your way through a volcano, which is really cool. I remember in the movie Spy Kids, one of the characters pointing out that it seems like every video game has lava. And then another one of the characters saying how that's not true. There's no lava in Halo, which, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about when I was playing that game. And then you got games like, you know, Gran Turismo, a bunch of racing games that don't have any lava in them. We usually think about lava in games, but, you know, it's not as big a cliche as you would think. Really like that music here. Got a very bluesy vibe to it, I like it. And again, the color choice is just really nice here. That shade of blue just goes really well with that green. Yeah, it looks like we got an earthquake here. Better get moving, otherwise I'm gonna get smushed. Oh. Okay, that was a little weird. Woo! I'm sorta like a candy wrapper in an updraft. I got that from Simpsons Hit or Run. I'm gonna have to play that here soon. God, I love Spin Dash, it's so helpful. don't know why, but that thing in the lava always reminded me of Blowfoot from The Land Before Time. I love going into that loop, hitting down, and just drilling through the ground there. When I was a kid, I used to think about Sonic as a burrowing creature. Burrowing creature, kind of like Bugs Bunny, but that's not power he typically has. Mostly from the Sad AM series. He did that a lot. Great cartoon, by the way, if you haven't seen that one. Highly recommended. Fun fact about the voice acting in Sad AM, though. Sonic was voiced there and in The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog by Jaleel White, who certain people are probably going to recognize as... Okay, let's see if he can figure this out. Yeah, keep doing that, Tails. He'll get here eventually. Yeah, the AI control on Tails can be really brain dead sometimes, but, you know, that's charming. If you're ever looking for a laugh, look up Tails Abuse on YouTube. Some of the stuff people can get to happen to him is really amusing. Alright, let's take another shot at this special stage. I understand the rings, but why are there bombs in here? Did Eggman put those here? And if he did, why didn't he just get the Chaos Emeralds while he was in here? The whole idea with the special stage is it's another dimension where the Chaos Emeralds tend to reside. Or at least that's Archie Comics' explanation for it. Or at least it was a place where Sonic would keep the emeralds. The Archie comics tend to vary from issue to issue, so it's a little murky. Probably not gonna make this. Nope. Boo! I blame you, Tails. If you want to use Super Sonic without getting the emeralds, there's thankfully a cheat code for that. Remember when we had cheat codes in games? When was the last time you ever used a cheat code in a video game? Okay, now this isn't a bad plan. Coming at Sonic. How did I do that? I did that in record time. That was ridiculous. Man, I'm blowing through this, dude. I'm only 40 minutes into the stream. Mystic Cave. Now this is a fun theme right here, going to sort of a haunted mine shaft, I guess. It's really cool. I remember as a kid being a little afraid playing this level for the first time. Which is a little silly now that I think about it, but hey, I was a wuss when I was a kid, I openly admit to that. This level is slightly infamous among the fan base, and it's not really that it's a hard level. Any fool can get through this, but there is one trap in this game, a beginner's trap, that has probably frustrated the vast majority of Sonic fans over the years. It's like a pit, spikes, and if you get caught down there, you're basically screwed. And what makes it so annoying is that they place an invincibility power-up right before it. So you get caught with that down there, and you're stuck just waiting for the invincibility to time out, and as you're doing that, you're desperately looking for a way to get out. But there is no way to get out, you're trapped. The game is just toying with you. It's even worse if you end up down there with Supersonic. I think it's around here somewhere. Or it might just be coming up on the end of the level, I'm not sure. All this stuff for Sonic interacts with in the level, I feel like this has served as the basis for all the stuff you can interact with in the levels in Sonic 3. It's funny looking back at games like this in order and seeing how ideas developed over time. And again, looking at the colors here, that green, that purple, that blue. And this team just did a fantastic job here. The Western developers for the Sega Genesis weren't really known for particularly high quality, but they really did a good job with this one. Maybe collaboration between Sega of America and Sega of Japan was the right way to go. Unfortunately, infighting continued constantly, especially towards the end of the Genesis life cycle. Like with the 32X, the handling of the Saturn, all that stuff. Everybody wanted to do something, and both sides wanted to do something stupid, so... Sometimes it's best to work a little more closely with each other. I'm not even going to bother going after the Chaos Emeralds anymore, it's not worth it. That's not the spike pit, for the record. I think I can point it out to you guys if I get to it. I'm gonna try to avoid actually falling down there. Love doing that. Hopping on a half pipe, curling into a ball, and just taking off. All those different sprite layers too, dude. Genesis wasn't as powerful as the Super Nintendo, but looking at games like this, you sometimes question if that's true, eh? Alright, I think we're getting close to it. I must have passed it already. Well, that's good. And again, not a bad idea from Eggman here, coming at Sonic with these drill bits. But after making yourself known to Sonic, why don't you just bring the whole ceiling down on top of them? I got it, man. You suck. You suck and you know it. Hey, you might actually get me. Hanging on to that last ring. Next time, Eggman, just plant explosives and bring the whole cave down on top of Sonic. Don't be an idiot. Lots of chicken and mouse. Sounds like a stupid Nickelodeon cartoon, doesn't it? Chicken and mouse. Oil Ocean. Never terribly fond of this level, but you know, it's a neat concept. That is another thing I've always really liked about Sonic. It's always had something of an environmental message to it, and I think it has probably the best environmental subtext of any franchise, period. Like, with stuff like Captain Planet and certain episodes of other series, they tend to be very preachy about it. You know, protect the Earth. How? I don't know, don't pollute or something. And it usually just comes off as really silly. Sonic has never really preached about it, they've just kind of shown it. I mean, obviously Sonic, he loves the beach, he loves the mountains, he just loves going where the wind takes him, seeing the sights, all that stuff. Whereas Eggman, he loves his machines and just replacing all that with mechanized monstrosities. But you also gotta remember that Sonic doesn't just enjoy nature, he does enjoy, you know, modern society as well. He does enjoy visiting the city once in a while. He does love Casino Night Zone. He doesn't have anything against progress. He just doesn't want it to go too far, which is what Eggman represents. And I feel that's close to the idea you want to have when you're talking about environmentalism. Because, yeah, cities do pollute, but you know, it is progress. That is how it's supposed to work. But just needlessly destroying the environment for, you know, stuff like shopping malls and stuff, it is a little silly. I'm probably not making myself clear here. I really should start writing down what I'm going to say in these live streams. I never was a very good speaker. Which is kind of why I'm doing this to begin with, to practice it. Okay, got through the first wave. Under and Sissy Rings. Ah! See, something like that, that's frustrating. Because the curve there, you won't really have time to react to that. You essentially have to memorize it. Come on, Tails! And the ring just takes off into the distance. It's taunting me. I do miss getting the low continues when the score is high, though. And again, I just can't help but look at the colors here. That shade of purple, the orange background. They just don't make them like this anymore. Or, I guess they do. How many retro throwbacks has Sonic had in the past couple of years? I was actually talking with a friend of mine about that recently. I think there was like 6 I listed off. And they got another one coming out with Sonic Superstars, which, granted, actually does look pretty cool. But my thing about it is the sick retro throwbacks. Really, I'm not happy with the direction Sonic is headed right now. I did not like Sonic Frontiers. I thought it was awful, to be honest. I know there's a lot of people who got into that game, but I wasn't on board with an open world Sonic game, and how they did it just didn't work well for me. All you're really doing for most of that game is just running around these big barren levels collecting crap. The control wasn't that satisfying, the combat was bad. Just wasn't that good a game. I'm glad some people liked it. It's nice to see people enthusiastic about a Sonic game again, but that's just not the direction I want the series to head in the future. Sonic Team has said that the reason they went with that style of play was because they felt they tapped out the boost formula. But they did Sonic Color, they did Sonic Unleashed, then they did Sonic Colors, then they did Sonic Generations, which is where they perfected it. But rather than build upon it from there with original levels and maybe new characters to play as with their own abilities, they instead just half-assed it with Sonic Forces, and because of that, they decided to try something new. And it just didn't work for me. I will get Sonic Frontiers though. At least it's not 06. What is these things supposed to do here? Like, do those have some kind of function other than take... Did the... Tails, come on, dude. Usually when I play the Origins collection, Tails tends to get stuck somewhere and you can hear him just randomly jumping, trying to get loose. But I guess they patched that out because I haven't heard that at all while I've been playing. Have you guys? I've got my mind in two places right now. Landed right on that thing. Okay, maybe not that way, maybe this way. That is one thing I don't like about this level. It can be kind of confusing which way you're supposed to go sometimes. I do really like this level in Sonic Mania though. I like how if you get the fire shield and you fall in the oil ocean, it actually catches on fire. That's a real cool touch. And what do you got this time, Egghead? Again, not a terrible plan here. Coming at Sonic from under the oil, like he was with the lava, but again, Eggman, just stay under there. You got these mechanical arms to attack me. Why you gotta come up here and show your face? Ah. Hey. Segments. Ah, crap. Oh, this ain't good. Alright, gotta be very careful here. Ah, crap! Crap, crap, crap. It's always nerve-wracking when you run out of rings. Oh, because that happens. Really hate that oil under there, it's so annoying. Come on, Tails. Poor kid's having a seizure there. Is that offensive? If it is, I apologize. You hear that whoosh there. The Origins Collection also added the drop dash from Sonic Mania, so when you jump, if you push the button the right way and let it go when you hit the ground, Sonic gets a nice burst of speed. It's more a tool for speedrunners than guys like me who, you know, just want to play the game. Speedrun a Sonic game does make sense though, that is part of the fun of it. As long as I got one ring, I'm still in the game. Jeez, Tails. Fly! Ah, good work, Tails. And then you die. Penguins and seals. Man, those guys are gonna be in for a heck of a time. Their ocean is oil now. You ever see that movie, Deepwater Horizon? That was a terrifying scenario. Not great. Robotropolis. This is easily my least favorite level in the game, and there are 3 reasons for that, and people who have played this game know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's one reason. Annoying star enemy right here. You get near them, they move a little bit, and they explode. Reason number 2. Those things, they are always placed at ledges, and they always manage to get you. That's the main issue with this level right here. It's really a matter of the enemy placements with those two and another enemy we haven't seen yet. They're just placed in the absolute worst spots and just makes this level a chore to get through. Still not as bad as Labyrinth Zone, though. That music is so Genesis. Gives me a headache. Here's where those starfish really get annoying here. Like, earlier, they're easy enough to avoid, but when you're on this thing, because you gotta pick up a little bit of speed to get moving, it's real easy for those starfish to hit you. And it's especially bad because if you're high up and one of those things gets you, you fall down, and then you're stuck unless you can backtrack and make it reset. Where's that other enemy that makes this level such a pain in the ass? Ah, see? Yeah. See, like a perfect example of enemy placement. How am I supposed to get around this guy? Hopefully I can jump. Oh, I can. Axe. Pretty easy if you just time it. Ow. I think this is one of those loops. Gotta go the correct way. Yeah, I'm not terribly fond of the design of this level. I don't know, just the background and everything, it just seems really busy. It's not as uniform as the rest of the game is. Some good platforming here, though, we'll give it that. See, again, a perfect place where that thing is just the biggest pain in the ass ever. Ah, there's the other enemy that really sucks, the splicers. The projectile is very hard to avoid. It always seems to track you, and you cannot hit that thing until it's out of the way, otherwise you're gonna get hit yourself. Sonic fans hate these three. There we go with multiple paths through the level again. I did say that this was my least favorite level, right? This is actually a lot more fun than I remember. Just think about what you're gonna say for these videos, but then you actually get to playing it. Then you have more fun than you realize. I had a similar experience last week when I was playing The Legend of Zelda, which I actually did take the time to finish. It's actually way better than I remember. My original review of that is super harsh. See, why does that splicer need to be there specifically? I got lucky dodging him right there. Makes me think of Scyther from Pokemon. Ah! Come on! That was cheap. Stupid starfish. Why do I feel like somewhere Patrick is getting pissed off with me for saying that? A splicer and a starfish in the same spot. If I recall correctly, Metropolis has 3 acts instead of 2. Not sure why they added a third one for this one, especially considering this isn't even the last level of the game. They probably cut it down from 3 to 2 for the other levels for memory space reasons. That's one problem they ran into with the first Sonic game. and why they had to reuse Labyrinth Zone of all things for Scrap Brain Zone. Hate that thing. They always place it right by the ledge, and so you essentially gotta jump wide in order to get around it. Ah! Not fast enough. Thank you for getting my Reen's Tails. You're good for something. Actually, you're good for a lot. Tails is very helpful. Ah! Really do hate those starfish. Everyone hates the starfish. You know, that actually does kind of refer to Patrick these days, I think. He has become something of a jerk in recent seasons. His stupidity used to be charming. He always caused trouble for SpongeBob, but he always meant well. Yeah, I really want to watch some SpongeBob. This level is kind of going on a little too long. Ah! That's close. Why do they always gotta put that one there? It's like a crap brawler from Pokemon. What? You stupid splicers. Ugh. This is one of those spots where you really don't want to get hit by one of those things. Thankfully, they don't respawn if you off-screen them, which is good. But if they hit you, that nut is up there. There's nothing you can do. And this splicer is just completely helpless right here. Come at me, bro. Come at me, come at me. Gotta be getting close to the end of this level. Trouble remembering. Yep, here we go. Not a very good plan, Eggman. I can't get to you, but then you gotta do something stupid like that. Eggman's eyes are black. Weren't they blue in the original game? No, maybe if you moved a little bit faster, Eggman. give you a decent sense of space, though. Those things rotating around him. If I thought this was the final boss, I would be really disappointed. This is really easy. You only got 2 left, Eggman. Ha! Timed it. See, that's where he would get the Chaos Emeralds from you. Get Sonic with a blast, and he'd absorb them all. There's some monkeys in there? Neat. But yeah, that's not the end of the game. Not sure what the deal with that third act was, but whatever. Sky Chase Zone. First appearance of the tornado, for the record. Sonic's biplane. And yes, it is Sonic's biplane, I didn't stutter. A lot of people don't realize that, because why would someone like Sonic need a plane? And given that Tails flies it most of the time, you would assume that it's his. But it does belong to Sonic, and if I had to guess why he owns it, it's probably because he can't get to certain parts of the world because of water. While it is true that Sonic can run across water, it needs to be still and flat for him to do that. It's something that they actually showed pretty well in the second Sonic movie, where he could easily run across some water, but once he hit waves, he started to struggle. So essentially how this level works is, though it might look like you're only in control of Sonic, you're actually in control of the biplane, so I can move up and down, side to side. And that does work just fine, but let's say if you have the plane up there at the screen, if you jump and Tails lands underneath you, it's really easy to get caught in an attack. It's something you gotta get used to. I feel like I've played this before, so I know how to deal with it. That music is kind of lame, though. And you know what? I'm taking these things out at, well above the clouds. It's got to be over 1,000 feet, so those animals that I am destroying here, they're basically dead. I'm sending them to their death. Ah, man. Chickens can't fly, and neither can turtles. Wayne Fortress. This is usually where I die. So let's see if I can get through this without it taking a bunch of different tries. Easy does it now. There's nothing but the abyss right there. I love Sonic 2, but I'll be the first to admit that the end game is kind of a pain. Not only is just getting through this part of the game really annoying, but the boss fight here is just absurd. Move closer to the edge. There we go. Also glad that fire doesn't hurt you. course, there's that sound, which is annoying. Oh. I wonder why the chickens are the gunners. Actually, you think those things served as the inspiration for the character Scratch in The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? We saw a Grounder earlier in the game, and Coconuts was in the first level. The super special Sonic Search and Smash crew. That's who he belonged to. Gotta be careful I don't run off the edge. Good, not dead.
I'm so pleased you're not dead.
I was watching Indiana Jones before I came on here. That's what we're going to be playing next week, by the way. Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures in honor of The Dial of Destiny, which I really hope is a good movie. It would suck if Harrison Ford's last outing as the character was a complete dumpster fire. I was watching a review by Chris Stuckman about The Dial of Destiny, and his take on it was it's not as good as the original trilogy, but is better than Crystal Skull, which is promising for me because I didn't think Crystal Skull was that bad, really. It has me enthusiastic that'll at least be entertaining. I just hope Disney puts more effort into it than they did with, what is it? The Star Wars series. They definitely didn't handle that well. Now here's the boss fight that always got me. It's all because of these stupid things right here. Done this once before, I can do it again. And of course, I say that after I lose my last ring! Ah, crap, I'm dead. I hate this boss fight. It'd be nice if it would just stay open. No! Knew that was the ball game right there. I'm gonna get you. Just gonna go for broke. I can... There we go. That took fewer tries than I was expecting. Alright, where'd you go, Eggman? Oh, you can get back here behind his control panel. That's kind of neat. Hey, get back here. After him, Tails. Kick in the afterburners. Doesn't look like we're moving too fast, does it? Oh, this is certainly going really far. Death Egg Zone. Death is very certain because you don't have any rings here. That Silver Sonic right there. He doesn't seem like he'd be that hard, but one mistake and you're dead. Just because you don't have any rings. Call that cheap difficulty more than anything. Thought he was going to jump. You really just got to memorize the pattern there. Now, I've really done this part once before, so I don't have it completely memorized. Expected him to jump. So you gotta deal with this guy, and then there's the Death Egg robot to worry about too. Ah, why did I do that? I knew that was gonna be a jump. Now, wouldn't it make sense for Eggman to make an army of these things instead of just one? Probably gonna be a jump. Ah! Dang! Eggman's just in there laughing at me. You gotta hit him in a specific way too, because his quills are buzzsaws, so you can't jump directly on top of them. Okay, this next one's gonna be a jump. And I thought I was in a good place for that. Really hope I can do the Death Egg robot in one go. I should have hit him. Okay, I gotta stand right here. You're gonna assume it's... Ah, it's a jump! Wish there was a tell for that. There we go. Alright, now for the Death Egg robot. Let's see if I can get this in one shot. Now this part right here, people always say because of that, that's Eggman is as fast as Sonic, but again, just one of those quirky video game moments. Ah! Guess not. So if you die to the Death Egg robot, you gotta fight Silver Sonic again. Not a fan. Let's say I have this guy licked though. Alright, so the thing with the Death Egg robot is that its weak spot is its body, but with the way it's situated, you gotta get around the claws. So you notice as it walks, the arms go back and forth. There's a frame of animation where both of them are just behind the belly, and that's where you attack them. It's easier said than done, though. I see guys on the internet who can do it easily, though. I think I've got this guy figured out, though. I'll send your brother to you next game. Alright, I can do this. I know I can. I've done it. Arrgh! Maybe I'm doing something wrong there. Gotta be pixel perfect. You lose track of where you are in the animation, and you're basically screwed. I'm gonna give myself a few more tries, and if I can't do it by, let's say, quarter till, we'll just call it. Really want to see if I can show you guys the ending here. Ah! Not this time. Oh! It's time to jump. We're past 9:30, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it there, guys. Alright, so Sonic 2, I still love the hell out of it. This final level right here is awful. Only for the reason you don't have rings. And I know that there are people who can breeze through this section like it's nothing, but again, I could never get to this section when I was a kid. But like I said, this was my favorite Sonic game, but it's not the one I mastered. But I still enjoy it. I love all the levels in this game, even the ones that I thought I disliked, like Metropolis. They ended up being a lot better than I remember. So if you're a fan of the series, this is a no-brainer to check out. I'm sure you already have. Next week, we are going to be playing Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures. It's going to be lots of fun. Going to see if I can get Indiana Joe to appear in that video. But for now, if you enjoy this content, like and subscribe. I typically do these videos every Saturday, but this week I did it on Friday since I got plans tomorrow night. If there's any game that you would like me to play, please leave it in the comments and I'll add it to the list. And if you are going to go in the comments, please be civil. You guys have a good night, have a good work week, and I will see you later.